I'm having a finger pointing at me, telling me that I think we are live. So once I get some confirmation in chat, we will get started here. This is the best part of the stream when I get to wait. I know we have a new delay now, so it may take a little bit longer before I get confirmation that people can hear me. Once you do, please say something, and the audio levels are good, and we will get things going here. I hear a yes in chat. All right, everyone, welcome to the Expeditions Room DevStream number 12. Today we're actually restreaming on Steam for the first time, so I'm getting to say hello not just to our wonderful Twitch audience, but also to our Steam audience, which is super, super exciting. And we have new guests today. We have a really cool topic that I think is quite applicable to the Steam audience, so hopefully you guys are excited to hear more about the Rome extension and all the other cool stuff that we're doing. I have my friend Peter with me today. Peter, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, have you done like a stream interview type thing before? Is this your first time?
I did a few panels for Twitch about bits, but I think they were streamed, but never like a kind of interviewee show. Usually like a QA kind of thing.
Okay, well, cool. I mean, first time. We've had a lot of first time guests on here. I know we did the first time with the music guys too. So it's super easy. You just hang out, chat. No big deal.
Well, fantastic.
So, before we get into kind of the topics, why don't you tell the audience a little bit yourself? You work for a company called Muxy, but I'll let you kind of introduce yourself to everybody real quick.
Yeah, so Muxy, I've been into Twitch since Justin TV days. Love the ecosystem, love what the content creators have been doing, and it's been fantastic to see the platform grow. And so when I founded the company Muxy, we focused on streaming tools. We did alerts, analytics, all that kind of stuff. You may know us from the Cheer Cup we launched when Twitch launched Bits. But since then, we've kind of pivoted our focus to take all the things we learned in helping content creators interact with their audience and making those tools available to game developers so that they can easily make their games interactive and fun for viewers to manipulate. But we'll go more into the details when we get to that, because I don't want to give away too much of the fun right now.
No, it's all good. I mean, we're gonna jump right in because this is, I don't know. This has been something near and dear to my heart for a long time, and it's great to be talking about it with the Twitch audience here because this is stuff that we're doing really to just blow out the way that people use and interact with games like Expeditions Rome strategy games on Twitch. And I think if you haven't read the Dev Diary, I encourage you to. It's on our site down below me right now, according to the way my frame is set up. It's at community.expeditionsseries.com. It's a Dev Diary that goes into all the details of this crazy stuff we're doing with the Twitch extension for Expeditions Rome, which I think we've decided to call Rome Tribune. Is that right? I think we called it.
That's what it's submitted as. That's what it's coming out as.
Yeah. I know that Jonas and I think Jonas will join us in a little bit. We were talking about how to name it, and we're like, Tribune is like a group of people like voting and doing things, like the Tribune of the Plebs. And I mean, plebs is kind of a fun phrase that sometimes people still use on Twitch, right? Like the audience of the plebs. So we're like, I mean, come on, that just makes sense.
It was a hard one. We tried to come up with some good ideas, but I like where you guys landed on that. I really like the name.
So let's go into what the spirit of this whole thing is. I mean, it's really. I'm guessing a lot of people in chat that are watching right now, you play strategy games. We're big fans of these types of games, strategy games, RPGs. But on Twitch, there's always been kind of a struggle to get those games to really take off. And I think, we've had a lot of conversations with partners like you, with directly with influencers. I've been to TwitchCon 2 or 3 times and met with them and talked with them about the challenges they have with these games. And it's always been the same kind of story. They'll play them off stream. They have a lot of fun with them. Some of them do play them on stream, but it's always difficult to get the audience involved. And I think there's a lot of different reasons for that, I would expect. What's your take on that and why they're hard to play off on stream?
So we built one of the first full Twitch analytics systems. We looked at every game that your viewers were watching, and we could compile all that. So as a broadcaster, you could see here's the different audiences, what they liked, and all of that. And we looked at that data in a large sense, and we noticed that if you took very successful games, let's take one that everyone it should know about, like Civilization for something. It does great sales, very well-known franchise in the strategy marketplace, but its representation on Twitch was so small. And in talking to streamers and talking to viewers, there's a lot that needed to be done to make jumping into a stream possible. Because when you're watching PUBG, Fortnite, whatever, it's a 20-minute match or 30-minute match, whatever it is.
Yeah,
you can get
definitely.
at any time, and even if you're at the tail end, you'll catch the beginning of the next one. And with strategy, sometimes, if it's a good strategy game, you're playing for weeks or months.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's a long form format in the game experience itself. Even in Rome, there's some session based content around how you play your encounters, and it's definitely slower and more cerebral than a shooter, obviously, or a racing game, or some of the other games that have kind of the meta of Twitch on lockdown. So it's something that we talked and brainstormed about a lot. We kind of discussed with streamers and tried to figure out what their challenges were when they were trying to interact with their audiences. One of the things that you mentioned was like not having context. Another big part was how they build interactive moments when they're having to deal with the complexity of the game. And as we talked about it more, I mean, that's where the idea of this extension got birthed from. So before we go into the actual details of the extension, what is an extension? Hopefully some people in the audience are, and raise your hand if you have used extensions before for other channels. But for the general audience, what is a Twitch extension?
So in 2017, Twitch launched extensions. We were a launch partner with them, and generally at that point in time, most extensions are some of the ones you'll see now, like the Amazon Prime extension. They were kind of extensions meant to be used on your channel at all times with any game underneath of it. Now there's a big push for content matched extensions, and that's specifically what we've built for Rome. And that means the extension is literally powered by your game client as the broadcaster. The game client can tell the extension what to do. It tells the status of all of your units and whatever else metadata needs to be sent up. It can also respond to the viewers. So if you were watching a strategy game, let's say Rome, and you want to rename a friendly AI after yourself, you can do that. And you can be represented in the game until maybe someone steals it from you. So that's a very concise explanation of what an extension does, and specifically in a context that you've been watching these diaries, you understand Rome. And so that's the kind of thing we're trying to build here. And right now, extensions work on desktop Twitch. You have to be on twitch.tv on your web browser. And hopefully you guys will check out the extension this weekend and try it yourself.
Yeah, I think there's some really interesting experiments that have done with extensions. I know that there has been soundboards that are really common. There's Borderlands 3 did kind of a cool extension when they launched, with the ability to kind of get loot that the player or the streamer earned. One of my favorite extensions, by the way, if anyone has never seen this, there's still some people that use it. There's a really cool extension for Dead Cells. I'm not sure how many people in chat played Dead Cells, but there's a really neat extension for Dead Cells where you can do some interactive things like deciding which boost that each the streamer has to get the next time they go through. So there's some cool things there that you can kind of play with that I thought is super fun. But we kind of took what people did with extensions and then poured kerosene on it and lit it on fire. The extension that we built for Rome is just insane. I mean, there's so much there. It's a massive feature set. It's really like nothing I think anyone has ever seen before.
I totally agree with that, Brad. We've built 40 extensions. Twitch has contracted us out at least. We've been contracted directly by Twitch at least 15 times to build extensions for various clients, all on our platform that is now open to developers. So that's we were doing it internally for a long time and eventually opened it up to everyone. And this is the most complex thing we've ever seen an extension do. And so it's treading new ground. We've tested it a lot, and we're excited for our guinea pigs to get it this weekend and let us know what to change and fix.
Yeah, so we're gonna. Peter is letting and it's fine that you do. You're letting the cat out of the bag a little bit. That we're doing something this weekend. So we do have a really cool announcement that we're gonna do in a little bit. It's all good, man. See, for us, we talk about this stuff in real time so much that I don't even think that sometimes the barriers exist on what we share or not, but it's all good. We're going to tell you very, very soon for a big announcement on what we're going to be doing this upcoming weekend. And as Peter's kind of alluding to, we have some really, really cool stuff coming up that you will get to maybe play with this extension for the first time here in a little bit. So we also have a really cool trailer we're going to show you in a little bit as well. And I think we can bring my friend Jonas on, and we can have him join us for a second and maybe set this trailer up and just jump right into telling everyone what we're going to do. There should be some hype around this. It's going to be a very exciting weekend for everybody, for all the Rome fans out there. So I'm going to wait to see, give my thumbs up for my producer friend. Okay, Jonas, I think you're on. How you doing, Jonas?
Hey, Brad. It's good to be here. Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
Yeah? And then, Jonas, you and Peter have worked together pretty closely over the last, couple months now, right?
Yeah, we had a very close collaboration. It's been interesting to navigate all of the challenges that we've had with this thing, but the result is cool, so it's worth it.
So, before we go into the announce that has already been kind of leaked, but it's all good. Let's. I'm just gonna give Peter crap now, just because I love watching him
spoiled.
It's all good. Yeah, I hear Jonas. It seems like you may be a little bit quiet on the stream, so I think producer Alex in the background can probably speak his language a little bit. Dreamkin, we'll get that fixed. First off, we have a new trailer to show. It's a simple trailer. It's a little bit of a teaser. But basically we put together this short video that highlights some of the art of Greece and Rome. Some of these videos or some of these scenes you've seen before, some of them you haven't. But it's just a small little art showcase, because August and his team has done a killer job, and I think it's awesome that we give them a little bit of time to shine. So we have our Regions of Rome trailer, which highlights Greece and Rome, and we're going to show that here. And that trailer is done, we're going to come back and go through some really cool announcements. So here it is, the Expeditions Rome, Regions of Rome trailer for Greece and Rome. All right, and we're back. Yeah, I love Morph Dude. I agree. The music in that trailer, so we're starting to showcase even more of the music in the game as we go on. There's some really cool, relaxing tunes in the game. There's some awesome world map music. It was fun to kind of showcase some of the more atmospheric trailer track options we have in the music list. So I think a lot of you are music fans. When the soundtrack goes up, you're going to have so much fun. I actually put the music on my own personal playlist daily. I listen to a lot of it, so there's a lot of cool stuff there. And I see a lot of the regulars here in chat. We have Ruin the Drifts here, DJ Isma saying hi. We have Depot Park. We have a lot of cool regular fans, so welcome to the stream, and hope you're excited to get some really cool new news. I'm reading NoNoZ73 says, so much red, I should have lived in antiquity times. Love the colors of the monuments. I mean, there's obviously drawbacks to being back in the old Roman days, but there's some really, really cool architecture, that's for sure. And I think the art team killed it in bringing those things to life in the game. It's really pretty.
They've done a fantastic.
I know. Yeah, go ahead, Jonas.
No, I mean, it's one of those things. We actually got this question ages ago, which, like, one of the first questions was, will the statues be painted? because the archaeology nerds know that statues back then were painted. Some of them are, some of them aren't. It depends on. Some of those statues are already 500 years old by the time you see them in the game. So yeah, but some of them are. So that is realistic.
I know when I sent Jonas the first draft of this is if you probably so for those who are savvy, you'll notice it said Regions of Rome trailer 1. There is a trailer 2 that will be released TBD, but soon. That goes to the other 2 regions, Gaul and Africa. When I sent the first like full complete drafts over to Jonas, his first response in the email chain was, "Man, we have a pretty game." And I couldn't agree more.
It's easy to lose track of it sometimes. Like, it's nice to see it this way, where you're like, oh yeah, you can take a step back and go, yeah, that is actually a very good looking game.
Yeah, and I think it's Fijuri, and I hope I pronounced Fissure maybe. So yes, Africa and Egypt's a part of Africa. We have 3 main arcs to our campaign. We have the Greek part of the campaign, which happens first. And then you go to Rome for a whole bunch of political drama and fun. Then you have the African arc of the campaign. Then you go back to Rome for some political drama and fun. And then you have the Gaul arc of the campaign. And then you kind of finish in Rome. And when I say arc, I mean, these arcs are epic. Some of them take 10, 15 hours. I think Africa is the largest. It takes probably like 18, 15 to get through. Maybe even 20, depending on how completionist you are. But Africa has different segments to it. You do spend a lot of time in the... Well, I'll let Jonas answer this about the different regions in Africa that you end up spending time in. Kind of better clarify that question.
Yeah, you start in sort of the western part of it, where there's a tribal land called Nasamones, and this is more of like the sort of... It almost has a sub-Saharan feel to it, although it isn't. And then you go from there and mount your invasion of Egypt, where things obviously are a bit more green and verdant because of the Nile and so on. So it's a nice little change, even though it's in the same campaign. It's almost like 2 campaigns in one, basically.
Yeah, it really is. So I think if you like those 2 different pieces, you're going to enjoy both of them. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, he said technically at that period, Egypt was basically Greece. So I guess, yeah, but the regions are very different, and I guess the Roman campaigns in those parts of the world are very different. So we had to segment them somewhere. So let's get into our big announce that we want to highlight today. So we're talking about extensions, and we have Peter from Muxy on with us. And the big announce is that we are doing a preview weekend this weekend. So starting December 17th and going all the way to December 20th, where a select number of streamers, I think we have between 10 and 15, it's a small number, are going to get exposed to the first arc of the campaign. So we were just talking about this. They're going to be able to play through all of Greece as kind of a preview build. And while they're doing that, and the big reason why we're doing this, not just we want to show the game off, but a part of that is doing a beta test for this extension that we're developing. So the extension is going to be fully usable. You're going to be able to interact with your streamers. There's a ton you're able to do with it. And we really wanted to, we're trying to slap beta all over the place, because though we've done a lot of testing internally, and it really is, and it's unprecedented. No one has really done an extension like this before, so we don't quite know how all this stuff is going to work. And we want to have kind of a good test weekend before the launch in January 20th. So this gives us a chance to give a few streamers an opportunity to play the game early, and it also gives us a chance to see how people use the extension. It's a little nervous for us, because it's 3-4 years in the making for showing off this much of the game, showing off the extension. It's a lot of anticipation, but we're really excited for you guys to get exposed to it and play with the extension. Jonas, it has to be something else to finally have this, even though it's just one piece of it, going out into the wild for some real players to play.
It's really interesting, because I always had a sense that it was going to be very cool and very fun to interact with, and something that would really change the way you see the game played by other people. But I also had a hard time imagining how it would actually work. Like, it's one of those things where you see it in your mind and you think, this is going to be cool, probably. And now that we actually have it in front of us and we can see how it works, yes, awesome. It is as good as we hoped. And that's a very satisfying experience.
It's fun. So, I mean, let me. We're going to go through a number of the features of the extension here in a minute, but I think I want to tell a quick story to frame up some of what Jonas is saying. So, we were testing on Monday with those are like 15 or 20 of us in a channel, kind of testing around with the extension. And I think Peter, you were the one that was actually playing. You were playing a particular mission, and there's this thing in the extension where you can basically knock down characters, and you can do that to allies or enemies. Like you can either help or hurt the person that's streaming. And as Peter's trying to take his turn, I am going in front of him and knocking down every single character in his party just to troll him. And so like you see him like clicking on someone to move it, and the guy falls over. And then as he's trying to go through his roster, they're all falling over. And I think at the end of that turn, you're like, all of my guys are on the ground. Like if someone doesn't knock the enemies down, I'm done. Like that's it.
It was amazing. Like and you know, we've tried to design it so the streamer can use it in the way they want. They can have they can load a save and say, all right, let's try this battle. You guys do your worst to me. Or, you know, I need a lot of help. So maybe, you know, just only help me out this time. And it's like a push and pull. And it was fun to actually see it all manifest because it's all been little vertical slices. We've been testing, making sure functionality works. Just how any game development, you know, goes. You have to build small pieces. But when it all came together, it was magic. I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, it really is a level of like asynchronous gameplay that I've never seen before, and I really am hoping that you know, all of you that are tuning in now, and if you have favorite streamers, we do still have a couple slots open for the weekend that actively people are getting involved in it almost daily. We have new names that are jumping in, so those slots are going to fill up quick. But if some of you have a favorite streamer that you think would really enjoy this, have them get in touch with us. They can tweet at us, they can DM us. We have a link that's shared, I think, in the journal itself and the diary on our website, community.expeditionseries.com, so they can jump in, and it's gonna be a lot of fun to go there and, you know, mess with your favorite streamer or help them. Again, it depends on what kind of person you are, help or hurt. It's gonna be a very interesting experience to see how everyone kind of goes through and enjoys that. Now, before we go into all of those details, there's another announcement as part of this weekend that we're running that I want to make sure I clarify. As part of this teaser weekend, we're also doing a drops campaign. So the game does have some cosmetic options in a way that you can actually customize the look of your Praetorians with both color schemes and emblems. And there's this trophy that you can display in both your war camp and your player villa. So Jonas, why don't you kind of walk us through the different drops that we're showing as far as like the visuals and what they can change.
So the interesting thing about the customization system is that was driven by this wish to make the Twitch experience more interesting. We wanted to drop some stuff that was purely cosmetic. So we thought, what can we add to the game that has this cosmetic quality to it? So you are able to customize the colors of your characters and the colors of your legion. You are able to customize the emblems that show up on your characters as shields. And as you say, you're also able to choose a trophy that you can display in your tent and in your villa. And if you watch the streamers play the game this weekend, you'll unlock a theme specially made for this called Dark Rose, which is one of the, like, our art director had a lot of fun making something a little less historical, something that just looks good. So it's like this Bordeaux kind of purplish color theme that looks very attractive.
Yeah, we have it on the screen right now for everyone to see. So you can see both that red and purple, or maroon, I guess, dark maroon and purple color scheme, as well as the emblem. So that's up there right now. They can see it.
Yeah, and if you sit up a little bit, they'll recognize the logo as well, because it's basically what we put on the shirt. That's the emblem you'll be able to unlock as well. And then finally, we have a bundle of 3 trophies that will drop at the same time if you watch long enough, which is like a golden griffin statuette, an Egyptian fan, which, like, you know, like a big fan that Cleopatra's servants would use to, like, cool her down. And then a Serapis statue, which is the main god of the Ptolemaic dynasty that rules Egypt at this time.
Yeah. And DJ Isma, it's not anyone for this particular event just because we don't know how we tested the extension quite thoroughly, but we want to be a little careful in the beginning about going too wide because the extension is in beta. So it's really just for a select audience, but it's not big. There are some big names in there, but we really are trying to connect with people that play these kind of games. So if you have a streamer that you really are excited about that plays turn-based strategy games or RPGs and you think would have a lot of fun with this, please have them, follow our ClickUp link and reach out to us, because there's there's quite a range of people that we're trying to get involved. It's not just quote unquote the big streamers. Obviously, there's some people in there that are decent sized. And again, I mean, the reason why we're limiting it for this particular round is because we want to give ourselves a chance to get some feedback on the extension, see how it works, fix any bugs. We'll probably maybe even be fixing bugs in real time over the weekend. We'll see how that goes. And make sure that when the thing goes in January, and I think someone mentioned this earlier, that it's as polished as possible. And that's our goal, is that the January is as smooth as experience as we can make. And if we don't do this test with at least a set number of people, we can't confirm that. So it gives us that level of extra security. So yeah, absolutely. If you have a streamer that you think would be great fit for it, there's definitely still time. We can still get them a key. Have them follow that link that we're putting in chat, and they can fill out that form. That will go to the people that are managing and organizing the weekend event, and then there you go. Yeah, I don't. We've reached out to a lot of people, but Z, if Tokeshin is someone that you watch and you think would be interested in it, please reach out to him and let him know. And it's a really cool experience. So. The drops campaign is going to run for those 3 days. I'm not going to make any promises. We are probably going to bring these particular drops back at launch, but they're going to be a little bit harder to earn. So it'll be easier to earn this weekend. And then, because we don't want to just do this as an exclusive weekend for those drops, we'll have different drops as well. That'll be super awesome for launch week. So you're going to have a lot of opportunities to earn cool cosmetics. But at the start, it's just this particular weekend. And the way we're doing it, the color schemes will be for 1 hour. Watching. The emblem is for 2 hour watching, and then the trophy pack is for 3 hour watching. And I mean, they're really just cosmetic options, but they still look really awesome. I think the desert rose and the emblem is really cool. Have you run around with them much in the game, Peter, using the different skins?
Oh, I mean, it was really cool, even just with the normal ones that were unlocked. When I finally got to the war camp, I had a really bad cold a couple weeks ago, and I took that opportunity to spend the entire weekend playing the version of the build Jonas had given us, and I got all the way through Greece. But that first time getting your war camp, and customizing your units and earning a new one from some random side quest that I stumbled upon, it's really rewarding. I customization in games is not usually a big thing for me, but you get so immersed in the RPG elements and you really start feeling ownership over the characters that I thought the themes made it more made that connection deeper for me.
Yeah. And DJ Isma, you're onto something with how not as Jonas mentioned, the kind of customization system was definitely birthed from wanting to have some really cool value we can provide to streamers, but we added more into it than just that. So there's a number of unlocks that happen through different progression loops, and they're all global for every save file once you unlock something. So there's definitely some kind of completionist carrots that Jonas and team have sprinkled in front of you as you go through. There's definitely kind of that game plus-ish kind of, we'll do it this way and maybe get this thing. I think how many on the default unlocks are there? Not the Twitch ones, but just the defaults. There's 12, 13 colors, something like that?
It's more.
I think there's more than that.
Every faction has its own color scheme that we also we use the same system to color the different characters for the different factions in the game. And when you vanquish a faction or if you
right
on your side, you always get their colors. So yeah, it's quite a lot. I don't want to give a number because I might overshoot, but it's a lot. And the cool thing, as you say, is because they are persistent, we've been able to even unlock some stuff all the way at the end of the game. And if you replay, you'll get to actually use it. Whereas if you get a weapon at the end of the game, what are you going to use it for? You're already done.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So we'll have a published list of the streamers that will be circulating around as we get to tomorrow and Friday. Some of that stuff is still finalizing. I know one off the top of my head. If any of you guys follow Cringer, he's actually live right now. I believe he's the first one going live on Friday. He's going to be going live at 11 a.m. Central. I think it's 9 a.m. Pacific. So if anyone's a Cringer fan, Cringer, I see him on my list right now. He's playing Project Zomboid. But he's actually a streamer that I met and chatted with a number of years ago as we were kind of going through the ideation process on this. And, he's going to be one of the very first ones that light up on Friday. So if you want to get your drops early and you watch streams during the day like this time frame, he may be a really good person to jump into on Friday and watch. And he's a really, really fun streamer to watch. He has an epic beard. You'll enjoy it. But there's a lot of different. I know Burke Black's on there. He's an evening streamer. I'm not going to remember all the names. I don't want to I don't want to feel like I'm playing favorites, but there's a lot of people that you can tune into throughout the weekend to get a touch of Rome and grab your drops. So let's move on to actually talk about the extension itself, because we've been talking about the drops campaign for a little bit, but I think we haven't done justice really to all the features about the extension. So I think we should maybe start, because I think we've already talked about this a little bit with the combat side, and there's a lot, and you see on the screen right now with some of the gameplay capture, that big map, that hex grid map that you see, that's what your interface will be in the web browser. So when you're in there, you actually navigate that map, you can click on units, you can do different actions on them. Peter, maybe you can give us a couple examples of some of the actions that we've built into the extension with the Logic Artist team.
So let's start with the first action that I think is one of the most groundbreaking things we've attempted to do here, and that's the ability to retarget any of the AI in the game. So every round of combat, every viewer gets to play a little bit of the game themselves by saying, I want that archer to attack Brad's priest. I want that light infantry to attack Brad's heavy. And you can vote for each AI, even the friendlies, every round, and everyone else can too. And whichever each unit has as their most votes gets the selected target. So we've kind of made a single player game, if you want to enable it, multiplayer with your audience, because they can go in there and they can make the AI stronger. Because you as a strategy fan, I mean, I'm sure Jonas's engineering team can build some great AIs, and the AI faced off in the game was great, but augmenting that with the viewer's experience, you can't really beat that. And I don't think anyone's ever done that before.
Yeah, it's actually, and I mean, when I remember I've told stories of a particular JRPG I played way back, like 15 years ago, where it seemed like every turn the enemy was doing the thing that you didn't want them to do. That is even more exaggerated when humans are like, oh, no, we're going to focus fire this next turn and kill this dude. Like, good luck. And the thing that you don't want the AI to do, everyone's going to vote. And you could be in chat kind of coordinating. It's like, hey, everyone vote to kill Kaiso. Like, we're all going to kill Kaiso. And you just have everyone retargeting Kaiso. And then it's like, well, Kaiso didn't make it, and he got burned down in one turn because, everyone decided to screw him over. Jonas, how does it actually work? Like, so when the votes happen and the player's turn ends, I guess kind of the AI's focus gets changed? I mean, how does that work as far as the AI's command structure is implemented?
It's an override. So there's a slider in the game that sets, when you're playing in single player, how clever do you want the AI to be. So it has a certain weighting system to, like, it kind of knows what the optimal things to do are, but depending on what setting you're on, it's probably not always going to do the optimal thing, because that would be incredibly mean. So sometimes it makes mistakes. That way you can also get to use your attacks of opportunity and block arrows with your shield, right? Because shooting your shield would be stupid, but it feels good when the AI does it. If you're playing on Insane, it makes no mistakes, no deliberate mistakes anyway. So that's this whole system there. But then of course that gets overridden if you change the targeting. So it's still gonna figure out what attack to use from the characters, from the enemy's sort of individual attacks, but the target is decided by the audience. And I think that's very, very cool.
Yeah, and No-No's, Co-Carnage would probably have a lot of fun with this. I think, though, and we're about to talk about this, there's also features that allow you to help the streamer. So it kind of depends how much the audience wants to kill versus how many wants to help. It's not all fire and brimstone. And DJ Isma, your question about bandwidth, I mean, Peter can probably answer this more directly, but I mean, it's super lightweight. You really shouldn't even notice it.
So if you're streaming to Twitch, typically you're using between 4,000 and 6,000 kilobits per second. When you're watching a Twitch stream, you're consuming about that many kilobits per second. In the largest battles and there are some, not to spoil anything in the game, there are some epic fights. We recorded a maximum at around 20 to 40 kilobits per second. That's on the viewer and the streaming side. So we're an order of magnitude or two orders of magnitude less than what it would take to actually push the video. Because it's just text, we compress it, make it really small. It feeds into your browser. We use Twitch's system for that. And the game client communication is pretty straightforward. So it shouldn't be a big bandwidth hog, but that's one of the things we're going to be testing and evaluating this, because you never know what situations people can get into. We can test only so many different ones.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, Isma, I think if if you're watching Twitch stream successfully, you should have no issue using the extension. The video takes way more bandwidth than the extension ever would. It's on a fraction tier. But like Peter said, that's why we're doing the test. So if you're a bandwidth constrained person, we'd love for you to give it a go. And if you end up running into issues, letting us know. We'll be in a lot of the streams watching and participating ourselves. I know Peter's team, I'm going to be watching all weekend. We have other people that are kind of assigned to different streamers to kind of watch what they're doing. So we're going to be taking notes and correlating all those notes, both bug-wise, interface-wise, the whole 9 yards. So yeah. So we've talked about the retargeting thing, but Peter, there's also ways that you can do things on both sides. So let's go into the some of the other features that you can do kind of in a moment-to-moment gameplay and combat.
Yeah, so we offer a bunch of status effects that are available in the game, and there's a bunch of ones that all apply to units, such as healing, rallying, savage, which is a melee buff, weaken, which is pretty self-explanatory, knockdown, which is extremely powerful, and a full heal. And I may have missed one or so there. And all those effects you can apply to both friendly and enemy units. So if someone's being really mean to your favorite broadcaster, you can come in and buff up their unit, or knock down the enemy that's about to kill them, or full heal their quest monster that everyone's trying, or their quest NPC that everyone's trying to kill, for the escort missions. You can heal that person every time they get damaged. So you can have some crossplay there, and the interaction overhead, like the actual unit cost to do these activities, is completely controlled by the broadcaster. So they can have it as wacky as they want, or they can have it as restricted as they want. We wanted to, and at any time they can turn the whole thing off if they want to just enjoy the game or enjoy that playthrough, and then maybe reload that save and try it with the audience. So
yeah, I mean, it's so crazy the different things that you can do with this thing. Because I mean, it's like DJ was saying, like say you're watching a coast, right? You could go in there and be like, you know what? Everyone's kind of screwing over these guys. I'm gonna give a couple heals to Co. I'm gonna do the savage, or not the savage, the rally buff. You can drop some of these things on the streamer's side to help buffer and help them do better. And then maybe someone decides to counteract that on the enemy side. There's a lot of almost tug of war opportunities. It really is a secondary layer of gameplay at the audience level that interacts directly with what the streamer is going through. And I mean, it's really hard to explain it until you've experienced it, but there's nothing quite there like it. It's a really unique gameplay experience. And to answer that question, AC was asking about how the actions are queued. So we have some interesting systems in place to help manage how actions are activated. What's interesting is we actually debated about limiting certain actions for the beta weekend. We weren't really sure how people were going to leverage the thing. So right now, you can heal as many times as you want. You can knock down as many times as you want in one thing. We have some code in there to add clamps on that, either per round or per session. Not per session, per encounter. But we decided for the moment to just let the wild west happen and see how people use the thing, because we just don't know. We don't know, since it's so new and no one's done anything like this before. There's no data to tell us how people are going to interact with this. It's completely new. So we're super cool to see what people like you and other fans, how they use it, and then based on that we can figure out. Oh, so Deepo was asking a good question. So some actions actually do require some bit donations. Some actions are free. So and streamers actually do have control over how they set them up. So a larger streamer that has a bigger audience, if they want to set bit donations a little bit higher, they can. A smaller one can set them to be here's 5 cents to do this knockdown. You have a lot of control over how you can do that. So to clarify, not all actions are free. Some of them are based on donations to your stream.
Yeah, and because we added, because the way we're doing it is through a sort of meta currency called Denarii that you use bits to get. We also, in the future, depending on how the streamers review it, have ways to say, give streamers subscribers for a free amount every time they sign in. That's not currently enabled. We want feedback on the way it's built now, but we have all the tools to offer a bunch of different ways to have this interaction. And right now, if a streamer wants to set an action's price to 0 Denarii, it's free. Yeah. So all the actions can be set free. They can go as crazy as they want. They can experiment as much as they want. And we're looking at that feedback such as the Depot Park, the kicking misbehaving viewers. That's not implemented now. It's something that could come out for full release. We really want to see how people use it in this demo weekend, and kind of see what are the top 5 things, or however many things that we need to have by January. And I'm sure some of that kind of stuff is going to be it.
Yeah. Now, one other feature that I want to, or features that I want to talk about real quick before we go on to the narrative side, because we've definitely added a lot of features into every aspect of the game. But in the combat encounters and even and globally, there's also some informational features that we're working on. So you're able to pull up the roster of all of the characters and see them. You'll be able to kind of look at, like, you get to see of the lay of the map. So as people are taking their turns, you can see how they're moving around. So there's a lot of, I don't know what your experience is when I'm playing these kind of games, but I know when I've watched someone say, like, play XCOM, if they're on a particular part of the map, you can't really look around and see the lay of the land during the encounter. So even if you're not interacting and, like, dropping, donations or voting, just having that informational overlook where it's like, oh, I want to see where all these units are. I want to see where the allied units are. What are their names? You can do all of that with this extension and get your own context right when you start. Instead of having to ask the streamer, oh, how many enemies are still alive, or what's going on here? You can get that information on your own just by moving around the map. And Jonas, I mean, I don't know, but I think that's a game changer when it comes to watching games like Rome being streamed.
I actually find that to be one of the most integral parts of the extension. Just one of the most sort of baseline useful features, especially the combat stuff is great, but especially the ability to pull up the quest log and just see where is the streamer in the game, what's actually going on. Because if you're jumping into like hour 20 of a 60-hour RPG, how are you gonna, like, the streamer's gonna have to keep explaining what's going on just so new viewers know, like it's a TV show or something. So it's really useful to be able to call up that quest log and just go, oh, there's some interesting side quests active, for example. After the streamer is done with this one, I'm going to suggest they go to this other side quest because I haven't seen that played yet. Or I want to, like, maybe I saw part 1 of that previously on a different stream and I want to see how it ends or something. So I think that stuff is really, really helpful in terms of just understanding the game when you're watching it.
Yeah. It really does add that kind of context that is difficult when you join a stream. I mean, when you join a game like, let's say, Halo Infinite, because that's being played by a lot of people right now, right? Like, you don't need a lot of context when you first join to know, okay, he's trying to shoot this guy, right? Or they're trying to capture the flag. That context is just immediately understood. And even if there's more complex mechanics in a shooter like, say, a Borderlands, where there's story moments going on, that moment-to-moment combat experience is very instantly understandable. But in a game like Rome, it's not. You don't really know what's going on in that combat encounter when someone's just moving one unit here to do an action, or where they are in a story, right? With, like what you said with the quest log. So being able to, in the extension, self-service information about the context of the game the moment you join a stream of someone playing Rome, I mean, I can't wait to hear what all of you think when you actually experience it, but I really think it just bridges that gap of friction that is just causing so many challenges for these games on Twitch. And I mean, I'm hoping it changes these games forever. I'm hoping that when this happens, because I love these games. I mean, I watch Twitch all the time, and it breaks my heart that a lot of my favorite games that I play are on the channel, are on the platform, but don't get the kind of, honestly, the kind of respect I think they deserve. These games are so much fun. And so it's, how do we help solve that problem? This is one of our, this is our attempt at trying to help bridge that gap. We hope you really get excited about it. So I do want to move on to the, we have about 5 or 10 minutes left before we go into like final questions. DJ Isma, right? Truth. I'm speaking truth here. All right. So we have some other features on the RPG side of the game, because it's not just combat, right? The game is an epic RPG. And I want to highlight some of those too, because we wanted to make the extension throughout the entire Rome experience. So on the RPG side, maybe, I don't know, Peter or Jonas, who wants to take the RPG side? Jonas? All right, yeah, Jonas, you're the story guy. All right, yeah, so Jonas, you can walk through some of the features there.
Yeah, I love this feature because actually we wanted to do that on Viking. We talked about it a lot back in the day, but we just never had the bandwidth to do it. So like that's where Muxy really made that possible. Like the dialogue voting is one of my favorite things, because every time you have a dialogue choice, you have the option as the streamer to call a vote on it and basically hand over control to your audience. And it's up to you whether you want to take that as like a guideline. You can set that in your settings, whether you just want You know, you want to see what they want and then pick it yourself, or you want to force the game to pick that dialogue option that wins. And you can even just set in the settings that you don't have to call the vote; you just want it to happen automatically. And seeing the votes being tallied up when we were trying it out, I think it's just really engaging, because it also like kind of, you let the audience role play your character for you, and some of those dialogue options make a huge difference. Like you can, some of them change the entire trajectory of the story from that point on. So if you leave that up to your audience, like who knows what story you're gonna get. I think that's really, really, really cool.
So critical to converse about some elements here that Jonas was talking about, because we talked with streamers about this. This wasn't developed in a vacuum. There were people that we were asking questions to. We actually did a somewhat hidden. We didn't do a lot of advertising on purpose. Back about a year and a half or 2 years ago, we did a small extension experiment called Spellview for another THQ Nordic game called Spellforce 3. And we had a roundtable with streamers to get their feedback on some of these things. And one of the big learnings from all of this has been that streamers they don't have the ability to be managing an extension while they're playing the game. They're trying to entertain the audience. They're entertaining with chat. There's so much going on with them. So we spent a lot of time trying to understand the flow of a streamer while they're making decisions in the game. So like Jonas said, if I can turn on or off automatic polling, where the poll shows up every time in a dialogue. So if my stream is going a little slow and I want to speed things up, I can turn that off and just answer my dialogue real quick and get back to the action. Or if I have a moment that it's like I want to make a moment with those streamers, I can call a vote right then and there and just hit a button and it pops up all in the in-game UI, not having to use anything with the extension. All of those controls and being able to see that in game, getting the feedback in game, we're hoping that just makes the streamer experience and how they interact with you, the fans, just that much more seamless. And as we've tested it, it definitely makes a whole world of difference. Like that's how you can create those moments with them. And I love what Jonas said. It's like, I'm hoping, right? I'm imagining a streamer's gonna sit there and be like, I don't know if I should kill this guy or not. He kind of pissed me off. What do you all think? Bam, hit the vote button right there. And if he wants to be really brave, he goes, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna let you decide it completely. He can tick one button that basically lets the audience force him to the audience's vote. It's like whatever the audience chooses, that's all he gets. And then that vote concludes, the only option available to him in the dialogue box is going to be the one the audience voted for. So it's like giving the streamer control to do that in real time. I mean, it's crazy fun. It adds so many opportunities.
I saw Rule of the Doors question. Do you want me to answer that?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. So we do have things implemented for that. Didn't quite make the cut for this demo. I guarantee you there will be some persistence available to you for the release date. It was 90% there.
There is some things that are persistent. So if you decide, so we like Peter mentioned earlier, we have a currency in the extension called Denarii. It's a 1-to-1 relationship with bits. We're not obfuscating anything. It's not to like get you to spend 1 bit for 5 Denarii. It's basically 1 bit equals 1 Denarii. And we did that because the bit purchase flow is a little more complex in Twitch, and we didn't want a situation where someone was trying to get a bit and then things got broken with the action they're trying to take. So you can spend 5 bits to buy 5 Denarii or 100 bits to buy 100 Denarii. All that's up to you. And your Denarii persists forever. So once you buy that Denarii, if you come back to that stream a week later or at launch, like say you buy 100 Denarii for the demo for this preview weekend, at launch in January, those Denarii are still going to be. All of that's 100% persistent and protected. There are some other things that we're looking at, like Peter kind of hinted at, teasing into persistency that may come in January 20th. Some of the drop stuff is persistent, and you will get visibility eventually in the extension about drop equity that you earn. So that's also kind of there. But yeah, it's most of the features are in the moment, like with the voting setup. So we talked about voting, we talked about combat. I think the one thing we didn't talk about that we should make sure we touch on is care package. And I think, Jonas, this is a really good one. And care packages kind of go into the meta game. So if you think about the layers of the game, we have the combat section, we have kind of the narrative section, and then we have meta. So maybe, Jonas, you can set up a little bit of the meta game feature and how care packages tie into them.
With the Expeditions series, there's always this resource management layer under the game that drives a lot of the RPG. A lot of the decisions you'll be making will be about balancing the different resources against each other. How much of a good guy can I be if I need this resource and getting it requires me to be bad, and so on. So resource management has always been a big deal, and we wanted the audience to be able to engage with that as well. So the care packages are a way for you to basically just drop a nice little goodie bag for the streamer. It's one of the ways you can be nice instead of just messing with them, is if they're out in the desert and they realize they ran out of water and now all of their Praetorians are dehydrated and about to die, then you can drop them a little bit of food and water so they can make it back to camp to restock. You can drop them actual money if they need a certain amount of money to do a quest, for example, and they spent that money on frivolous stuff previously. Maybe the audience wants to give them a care package of money so that they can afford to try a certain dialogue choice, like purchasing something or bribing someone. And you can even send Legion reinforcements. So if they are really struggling with the Legion battle system and they have run out of both money and people, and so they can't recruit new people, you can actually send reinforcements to them so that they will be able to muscle their way past a certain battle.
And that's actually a really critical point, especially when it comes to like if you're doing Iron Man hardcore runs, which, I mean, I don't know if any of the streamers this weekend are going to do an Iron Man run after they could, though. If they want to do an Iron Man run of the Greek campaign, they totally could. And you could turn on insane difficulty and be like, all right, I'm only making it through this thing if you guys help me. Like, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. And you would need some of those boosts, or you may need some of those boosts from the audience to help you get through it. Because you could be at that moment where you're like, guys, like I'm running out of health. I have no money. If I make a mistake now, this run's over. So, I mean, you can make those moments happen, which is super cool. Now, there was a question coming up in chat that we debated about this a lot. And I think it's a really good question to talk about, which is, does Denarii cross over between different streamers or not? We decided to say no. So when you buy Denarii, when you I want to say buy, it's the wrong way to say it. When you donate bits to a streamer to get Denarii, then those Denarii are associated with that streamer, and there's going to be a way. I'm hoping it makes it in for the beta. I know that Peter and team are still working on this, but there'll be a way where you click on a website and see your Denarii wallet for every streamer that you've decided to donate to. The big reason why is that we want to make sure this is a positive experience for everybody, for the streamer, for the audience. We want everyone to have a good time with this, and we thought that it would be unfair if you went and if you went and donated to, say, like a larger streamer and then spent all those donations on a smaller streamer, or vice versa, right? Like, we want the person that you engage with and donate your bits to be the person that you can leverage those bits to have fun with, because that's part of the thing. I think streamers would kind of feel bad if you're coming into their channel and dropping all of this stuff, but they don't get to enjoy the benefits of that. And that's part of, I think, the streaming culture. Like, everyone's just trying to have a good time. You're donating to show appreciation to the streamers that you like. And we wanted to make sure that what we were building attaches to that atmosphere and that mood, and helped amplify all the goodwill and kind of the good feelings that, honestly, I personally very strongly feel are a part of what makes Twitch so much fun and so special. So, yes. So when you go to get Denarii, you get that from buying donating bits to a stream. So say you're watching this stream. We had a stream going right now. To get Denarii, you donate 100 bits, and that would get you 100 Denarii. That Denarii is permanent. You will have that Denarii in your wallet for that channel for forever, and you can use it for any action that the streamer has set up for Denarii. So it's a really, once you see it, it's a very simple process. But like I said, the Denarii that you decide to purchase or to convert on a channel is only for use on that channel.
Yeah.
And I do think it's going to be better that way. I think it feels really positive that way. Nothing feels shady. Everything is on the up and up. Everyone has a good experience with it. It's just a nice way to make it very transparent. And that's the thing, right? Like, streamers, I don't want to say our streamers who are playing our game, we want them to have a really good experience with this. Audiences that are watching people play our game, we want them to have fun with it. People that decide to download the game and play it, we want them to have fun with it. That's why we're doing the drops campaigns. The whole goal is to make this a really fun experience for everybody. So that was the motivation behind that decision. So I gotta be careful. Peter, I'm gonna let you answer this one. Have fun.
So
Yeah,
there's some
channel
things
points.
we're
Go ahead.
working on. Channel points have their own concerns. I won't go into them because there's no way. For example, one easy one that will show I'm not going to go deeper into the other ones is there's no way as a broadcaster to know how many channel points you have out there. At least there wasn't last time I checked last month. So there's no idea of an economy. And so setting up an exchange rate and asking a broadcaster to make that decision is pretty complex, like economist style math that like I don't know how to do, and I don't know if most broadcasters, maybe some of the Wall Street or poker guys could do the math, but like not me. But there are alternatives, and that's what I kind of hinted at earlier when I first talked about Denarii. Was we have a few options of watch to earn. We have a few options for, and because it's channel specific, because we didn't make these cross channel, a broadcaster can control their own economy and say, hey, subs get 50 every day or get 100 every day. Whatever we enable, these aren't there for this demo. These are things we're talking about. We want to talk to the streamers about and get feedback about and decide which ones are important and which ones we'll implement. Because I'm of the mind that there should be a way to earn these by participating in the channel. And
absolutely.
that is something that both Brad and I have conviction about, and I'm sure Jonas too, that we want people to be able to just get these, but it has to be at the consent of the streamer because there's a monetary thing if people buy them directly with bits.
Yeah,
or
and I think
use
that's
bits
like
to
what
get them.
Peter's saying right there is just so important, and I'm hoping that you're getting this from just our passion on this thing. I mean, we want to make sure that everyone enjoys this. We don't want anything to feel bad, so we're trying to be very careful about what options we expose when it comes to things like Denarii balance or Denarii transfer or ways that you can earn Denarii, or the cost of things between it being free or being a certain number of Denarii points. The channel points was another free path in there. When we talked about doing channel points, we were, again, what Peter said, we were worried that it could create a negative, because if someone sets the thing either too low or too high without awareness of what their channel points are, all of a sudden there are people running around with like 5,000 Denarii, and then all of a sudden all the prices have to get set to something really weird because the conversion's happening so extreme. And it's like, that's not fun for anybody. Like that removes the ability for everyone to enjoy the experience. So the big reason why we're doing this beta test, and again, if you guys have streamers that you watch that you think would have a lot of fun with this, and you want to be a part of that community interaction with them, the big reason we're doing this is to try to get some of those learnings from this weekend before the game launches. And then, of course, when the game launches, we're going to be watching this and modifying it there too. But that's really a lot of it. And I mean, even I think DJ Isma, you're getting the nose right in the head. I mean, this is also designed to help the small streamer, get some cool donations, have a really positive experience with it, have their fans have fun with it. I mean, it just feels good for everybody. So that's a lot of the spirit of this thing.
Yeah, that's where the flexible prices come in, right? Like if you want to set it to 5 cents, and we have a small package, so you could spend 50 cents on 50 bits, and a small streamer could set all their things to a nickel, or they could set them to a penny. Like it's up to the streamer to control their own destiny with how they use this extension and how they interact with Denarii.
Yeah, Rule of the Dwarf, you're right. It's like sound alerts just, blown out time a million. I mean, the amount of features, I can't, I feel, and I think I need to send like a special thank you care package to the programmer on Logic Artist side the last couple of weeks that's been grinding away trying to get some of this stuff done, which is going to get done before this weekend. But it's a really ambitious thing we're trying to do, but we all believe in it. We talked about, and I remember the very first time I met you back a number of years ago. This is a conversation that happened day one in your offices in Copenhagen. How do we help people have more fun with this stuff online? And the story you brought about Vikings and the voting thing, that was something you guys had wanted to do and thought of. We had a whole bunch of other ideas. It's we're really excited about it. We hope you guys like it. I mean, we really do. It should be fun.
It's a great way to get the word out about the game, right? Instead of having to try and market it to people, you just put it in front of them and let them see someone else play it. And it's really always been a problem for us that the type of games we make are so hard to watch. And I really believe this will solve that problem.
Well, I think that takes us right to the end of our stream. I hope to get more feedback from everybody and hope the word spreads around so we can get as much input from this weekend coming up. Keep an eye on our social channels as we start publishing. the names of all the streamers that are participating, and some of them are giving us times. We'll start posting those too, so you can know. Again, the first one that I have 100% confirmed is Cringer, going live on Friday morning at 11 a.m. Central. That's my time zone, 9 a.m. Pacific. So if you want to watch him experience some of it, you can tune into his channel. There's more, and we'll get those published up. We're really excited about this. Peter, thank you so much for joining us and having some conversations with our audience.
Thank you, and sorry for the spoilers, everybody. I'll blame my first-time nerves, right?
No,
Brad's a pro at this.
As far as spoilers go, that was absolutely funny. It was great. No problems at all. Jonas, as always, welcome. Great to have you back. And I think so. Big change. We're actually back on air next week. So you will see us again. We're back. We're now going to be streaming every week up from now until launch, except for the holiday week. We'll take a break then. But next week we have another stream coming on. Jonas, you want to tease anybody what the topic's going to be?
Generally about the world and the way you engage with it. I guess that's all I want to say, because we are still nailing down exactly how we want to approach it.
Yep. So we'll have some world stuff. Maybe we'll have some cool streamer footage we can highlight during the next week's stream. So mark your calendars for next Wednesday, same time, same channel. We'll be back here. Thank you everyone so much for joining us. It's been a lot of fun. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.